Hi there. This video builds on the power of reflection and storytelling exercises in previous modules and will help offer you a tool to support relationship building with your peers, coworkers, and professionals throughout the interview process. My name is Albert Huynh. I'm the Leadership Education and Curriculum Coordinator at Troost ILead.
My name is Annie Simpson, and I'm the Associate Director of Troost ILead. Conversations are the foundation for how information is exchanged and relationships are built between people. But many of us feel nervous or unclear about how to engage in a conversation, especially in a professional setting or in a context where we don't know people well. Good conversations help us build rapport and trust, which is so important for strong relationships. They help us discover useful information about others' experiences, about professional opportunities, and in this context, about the different industries and companies that we're applying to.
We often think that to be good in conversations, we need to say a lot. But research shows that people who, on average, ask more questions and listen are actually perceived more favorably than those who don't. When you show curiosity and invite others to share their experience and perspectives, they're more likely to enjoy the interaction than if you're simply focused on presenting yourself. So now, let's talk about two different approaches that we can actually use to ask these questions. The first approach is called the surface approach. Now imagine Annie is an engineer working in industry, and I've decided to reach out for an informational interview. And I'm meeting her for the first time. I want to kind of build some rapport and learn more about her experience and the industry at large. Hi, my name is Albert.
Hi, I'm Annie. Nice to meet you.
What's your job title with XYZ Consulting?
I'm a user experience specialist.
Oh, cool. Um, are you enjoying this weather that we're having right now?
It's okay.
Okay. Did you grow up in Toronto?
No, I actually grew up on Vancouver Island.
Oh, do you travel a lot for work?
Not this year. Uh, Previously, I was in Toronto quite a bit, though.
Cool, cool.
Okay. So, how successful was Albert in learning about me in that conversation? And how connected do you think we might be as a result? Albert was trying hard, but the conversation wasn't really going anywhere. If we imagine a conversation as an onion with both a surface and the layers, this last example was one where we were jumping around to different points on the surface without actually exploring or peeling through any of the layers. Like sprinkles on a cupcake, Albert's questions jumped from subject to subject, staying on the surface rather than following a particular thread and going deeper.
For more meaningful conversations, we'd like to introduce a different, simple method called peeling the onion or the layered approach. Now, please note that this method is probably a little bit more applicable to the Western context and particularly when working and communicating in North America. So when I use the peeling the onion or layered approach, my first step is to ask a question, just like we did with the previous example. But differently, I want to listen carefully to Annie's response. I'm then going to ask a follow-up question based on what Annie says. In this way, I'm going to aim for more depth in our conversation by peeling back the layers. Hi, my name is Albert. Thanks so much for meeting with me.
Hey, Albert, I'm Annie. Nice to meet you.
So I know that you work at XYZ Consulting, but what's your specific job title?
I am a user experience specialist.
Oh, that's really interesting. I actually learned a little bit about human factors when I was in my first year. How does what you learned in school actually translate into the work that you do now?
Well, actually, I studied civil engineering at U of T for my undergrad, so not as much of the pure technical content actually transferred over. But I regularly draw on the learning from all of the design teams and design projects that I was a part of, especially because empathy and communication with clients and with team members is so important. A lot of what I do actually really depends on collaboration.
Wow, that's actually really surprising. I wouldn't have thought that those would be the most important skills.
Mhm.
You kind of said that you transitioned from studying civil engineering to working in user experience. What would you say was maybe the most difficult part of that transition?
Yeah, well, maybe on a related note, it was really recognizing that so much of my role was about relationship building and working with others. Okay. So, as you can see, Albert is asking questions that build on the content of my previous statements, creating an opportunity for us to discuss a particular subject in more depth. He's also offering me the chance to share my experience, and he's listening curiously and intently. Remember that building relationships is just as much about creating space for others as it is about sharing our own views and experience. So, a few things to keep in mind. Try and keep your questions open ended rather than simple yes no answers. Listen carefully to how your partner responds. If you notice excitement for a particular topic, ask more questions about that. And conversely, if there are questions that someone doesn't want to answer, pick a different area to ask about and start peeling the onion. You can try asking questions that have some kind of criteria and make the other person think. Things like, what was the best part about something, or the worst part, the most important, the most surprising? You can also ask why questions to uncover someone's motivation behind a choice, such as, why was that important to you?
Now, this peeling the onion method is not a guarantee for having a good conversation. And there will be times when you cannot come up with a question, or you'll lose track of the conversation, or need to start at a new place on the surface of the onion. But by keeping this practice in mind, we believe that you'll be more likely to have powerful conversations that lead to new opportunities and stronger relationships.
For more opportunities to develop your relationship building abilities, check out Troost ILead's upcoming programs and courses. Thank you.
Thanks so much.